this webinar and we post it on our website later. So if you need to reflect back on what you learned, it'll be posted on the website by tomorrow. So for today, we have myself, Efrain. I'm the youth coordinator for Halton Environmental Network and for Generation Green. And then I have Andre, who's a youth stakeholder. He's going to be helping me monitor the chat box with any questions that you might have during the webinar. And then I also have Arlene, who is from Halton Multicultural Council. So if any students are from HMC and you have a specific question related to Halton Multicultural Council, please message Arlene. Arlene, if you could say hi, please. Oh, that's okay. She is on the call though, so you can just message her directly. So I'm just gonna start off with the land acknowledgement rights. So as a community, we have the responsibility to honor, care for, and respect all the creation gives to provide us with life. This includes the land, water, air, fire, animals, plants, and our ancestors. The Anishinaabe people have utilized this land for millennia, and we would like to acknowledge their direct descendants, the Mississaugas of Credit First Nation, as the rightful caretakers and title holders of this land, upon which we live, work, and conduct ourselves. We acknowledge our treaty relationship and responsibilities to both the land and these original people. We also recognize that this land is rich in pre-contact history and customs, which includes the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee, and since European contact has and continues to become home for Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. It is in the spirit and intent of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement, whereby we will collectively care for and respect the land, water, animals, and each other in the interest of peace and friendship, and for the benefit of not only ourselves, but to our future descendants. So, thank you for attending this webinar. As I said before, this webinar is designed to be a part of the Generation Green program and is to support you, the students, in the mission to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions in your community. So our short talk today will be hearing from our youth stakeholders describing their own community projects, and then we're going to go over some tips for keeping your communities engaged. Then we will do some next steps on what we kind of expect from you, and then some resources, and then as always, we will end the session with an open Q&A period to answer any questions you might have about your community initiatives. So don't forget, you can always message a question onto the chat box, and Andre will be recording those for me as I do the webinar, and at the end, he will be bringing that up and I'll answer them then. So don't be afraid to use that. This is just a schedule to show you what we have up and coming and so far what we've done. If you've missed any of the previous webinars, please go on to the Halton Climate Collective website, and we have like live recordings of each webinar, including the PowerPoint slides too. So today I have like so many of my youth stakeholders on, and they will be talking about their projects. So before I get them to speak about what they want to do with reducing their greenhouse gases, I just want to check in to say that hopefully most of you have submitted your project proposals. So Alana will be reviewing all of them to make sure that you're on the right track, and just a friendly reminder to check your email to see her feedback. So she should be doing it by next week. There are a lot of proposals to get through, so be a little bit patient, and hopefully you'll be hearing a response from her soon. So for any of those who are still brainstorming or fine-tuning your ideas, I'm going to ask our youth stakeholders who have joined us today to tell us more about their projects. So remember, it's not too late to submit a proposal, but we want to make sure you have enough time to complete a project. And of course, if you need any help with coming up with an idea, please email Alana or even me. We are here to help you. So I'm not sure if Andre is on the phone call right now, but if he is, would you be able to describe your community initiative?
Yeah, I'm here. Um, my community and
Oh, sorry, I didn't have my volume on, and that's probably why I couldn't hear anyone. I'm really sorry about that.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm so sorry. I had it on mute on my end.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm doing is actually two really simple things. And the first one is I started carpooling with some of my neighbors to school. So I live about 10 kilometers away from my high school. And that means I have to get driven every morning. One thing that I did is I found two friends that live nearby me, and they also had to be driven to school. And what we decided to do was carpool in the morning. So instead of taking three cars, each of us separately, we're now taking one in the morning, all three of us. And this is a really easy way that I can track how much emission reduction I'm doing, because I know if I find out how much each car emitted, I just reduce that by 2/3 now that we're taking one car instead of three. Another thing that I did is I just swapped milk, dairy milk, with soy milk with like my cereal before bed. And that was really easy as well to track, because I just needed to know how many carbon emissions a glass of milk every day equal, using the handout that we got at the Generation Green conference versus how much soy milk uses. And it's like about a 3/4 reduction. And those are two really simple ways that I made some changes, and then they're also both very trackable, because I know the distance, I know the time, I know the length of period as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andre. Can I have the next youth stakeholder go? I think we're just gonna go in the order.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, my name is Ira, and I am in grade 10 at Oak Ridge High School. I am not a youth stakeholder, but I did attend the Generation Green conference, and here's a little bit about my chosen initiative. I'm actually doing two separate initiatives, one at home and one at school. At home, my family has committed to reducing our electricity consumption by hanging our clothes to dry after putting them in the wash. The clothes dryer uses a lot of energy, so this is our way of reducing our household's carbon footprint. Also, having to hang up clothes has increased our awareness about energy use in general, so we've started doing other little things like turning out lights. We're also saving energy by not blow drying our hair after showers and turning down the heat in our house. To calculate these emissions, we're recording how much time we save from each electrical device. So for example, the clothes dryer takes about 34 minutes each time, and then inputting those into the calculations. Secondly, in late November, I had an idea to do a pen drive at my high school. I was attending a climate change discussion and learned that Staples accepts used pens and markers and sends them to TerraCycle, who then recycles the plastic. So I shared the idea with a friend who's actually also on this webinar, Shirley. And we thought it'd be really cool if we could collect pens from our high school and then divert them from going into the landfill. We talked to our teacher who runs Eco Council, and she agreed to support us. So since then, we were really excited when we learned we could incorporate this into our Generation Green project as well. The challenge that we faced was how to keep students interested and engaged, which is what this webinar is kind of focused on. Many of the students in our school are not that environmentally motivated, so we decided to hold a raffle at the end of the week. And so the more pens you donate, the more tickets you earn for the raffle. And of course, there will be eco-friendly prizes. This is about where we stand now. We have composed a letter requesting donations from companies, and we're going to send them that off soon. And then we're going to start making announcements and advertising by the start of February and hold a pen drive the second week of February.
with the raffle at the end. Then we're going to count the number of pens and input that into the calculation to calculate our reduction of GHG emissions. By the end of the week, we hope to review our progress and possibly continue collecting pens or other materials on a more regular basis to further our school's reduction in plastic pollution. And if anything, we want to make students more aware of their environmental impact through waste reduction. And this will also help reduce our school's carbon footprint, even by a little bit. After all, every action counts. A little action counts, I think. So that's a bit about my personal and school initiative. And good luck on your initiatives.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Luca, will you be able to tell about your project?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm the Student Senate of the HDSB. I'm the representative to the environmental management team of the Halton District School Board. So the big thing I'm trying to do is to get the HDSB to declare a climate emergency. So far, I wrote a report to the environmental management team of why we should declare a climate emergency and what should be in it. I listed some things that should be in it. So at the environmental management team meetings, we're going to discuss the possibility of declaring a climate emergency and what to include in it, such as trying to set goals for carbon reductions for all the schools, because we have all that information on how much carbon they produce. And then hopefully we can, the board will pass it before the end of the school year. And so that's what I'll be focusing on.
Wonderful, thank you. Uzair, are you on?
Yeah, I am on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so my project is going to take place in 3 phases. First of all, I'm doing this with the help of a friend of mine who also attended Generation Green Conference. So the 3 focuses are: first, clean energy; second is sustainable food; and third is alternatives to non-recyclable goods. So we would be contacting businesses in Oakville. It is a targeted area with 5 to 6 businesses that we would meet in person and help them in running sustainable operations. We would be assisting them in finding alternatives to, for example, plastic, and we would also tell them how they could be more sustainable and environmentally friendly by using clean energy like LED lights. And for measuring and tracking this, we would be going there and we would be counting the number of lights, for example, in the restaurant. So for example, if there are 10 lights, we would use the toolkit provided by the Halton Environment Network, and we would see the carbon emission from the normal lights and the carbon emission from the LED lights and see the difference from there. And secondly, we are looking to take the leftover foods from the restaurants to soup kitchens. This would allow the restaurants to use the leftover food instead of dumping it. So our main focus is to make businesses in Oakville sustainable and environmentally friendly. And this could be done easily by using the toolkit provided by HEN.
That's amazing. That's actually a wonderful initiative. Thanks so much. Haya, are you on the call?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi guys, I'm Haya. I'm a youth stakeholder at Generation Green, and the project that I'm working with multiple friends of mine is a biking marathon. I don't have a lot of details to give today because we're still like planning everything out. But the premises of the event is so I live in Milton, and we have this route that we are planning, and anyone who would like to participate kind of gets their own bikes and just goes and bikes really. And we're gonna have rentals there as well. I don't have all the information about how we're calculating the gas emissions or anything like that, but we know that we want it to be like 100% environmentally friendly. So we're not going to be like offering any kind of plastic water bottles. We're going to be having those I'm not sure what they're called, the jugs where we fill up water and people can really just refill their bottles on their own. So we're kind of still in the planning phase, and yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it.
Sounds like a really fun event. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Haya. Dorian, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, that's perfect. Is it cool if I talk a little bit about my initiative?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's perfect. So, for me, mine isn't nearly as spectacular as what you guys are all doing. Um, in December, I had a speaker come to my school, Nate Hamilton. He is like a high up executive for this aquaponics business, which basically grows plants indoors locally, so that way people can have basically fresh produce all year round. You don't have to import your romaine from Israel. You don't have to import your tomatoes from Spain in the middle of winter. You can contact him and he'll be able to deliver you farm fresh vegetables all year round. So the idea is he's having a problem where the fish, they basically fertilize the water, which then goes to the plants. However, he doesn't know at what point does the plant water need to be changed. He needs a way of reading the magnesium levels, the nitrate levels, the nitrite levels, all the good chemicals that are inside the water to help the plants grow. He needs a way of understanding like what's in there. Currently what he does is he basically puts it in for a certain period of time and then throws out all the water and then starts again. So my job that I've bestowed upon myself is to make a combined sensor that can basically sense the levels of magnesium, calcium, nitrate, nitrite inside any body of water that I put it into. It will then have a readout that I'll process and then put onto a digital app that can hook up to any iPhone or Android. So that way him and his workers and his, even his customers can, hook up to the machine and see how it works firsthand. The idea is that it will reduce his carbon footprint by making him waste less water and improving his efficiency, but also by improving his customer base. So he'll be able to basically have more product for less resources.
Wow, fantastic.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so those are all of my youth stakeholders talking about their projects. So, of course, the reason why we wanted them to speak about what they are doing is just to show you that they are students just like you. They range from grades 9 through 12, and they are also trying to put an effort to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in their communities. So, I just want to put a reminder that if they can do it, so can you. So thank you so much to my youth stakeholders who came on and spoke about their projects. You are welcome to leave at any time, but of course you can stay for the rest of the webinar too. But yeah, thank you guys. And just for a reminder to the students who are logged on who aren't a youth stakeholder, your projects can be super simple or even complex. So obviously we welcome you to be super creative, but just always, always, always remember, like even small actions have a big impact and all projects are super duper valid. So never feel sad or disheartened where you don't feel like you're doing enough or it's not big enough. Please just do what you find interesting and then go off of that. So thank you to my youth stakeholders.
Hey, thank you. I have to hop off because DECA is due tomorrow, so wish me luck.
Good luck. Thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me. Have a great time, guys. Good luck.
Wonderful. Okay. So for the next part of the webinar, I'm going to be talking about how to keep your community engaged and some challenges and tips. So now that you're starting to plan it, I know it's going to be a little bit hard to kind of keep your community engaged and kind of putting it into action. So hopefully I can tell you kind of from experience what we've done at the Halton Environmental Network, and hopefully this can kind of help you. So what we did over the summer with Halton Environmental Network and Halton Climate Collective was the Every Action Counts survey. So over the summer, we had a bunch of people with surveys asking Halton residents 3 main questions. What do you currently do to reduce your emissions? What are the barriers to doing more? And what resources do you need? It was a simple questionnaire that they do on their phone just to kind of see what they're doing so far in reducing their greenhouse gases at home and what is kind of preventing them to continue onwards. So the barriers, or at least the top 5 barriers that was reported back was it takes too much time, they're too busy, they don't know what they should be doing, they don't have enough information, or it costs too much. So I'm gonna just be going over why these barriers are important to acknowledge and how to actually overcome them in order to effectively engage your communities. So for the first one, it costs too much. So when you're engaging your communities, you should try not to ask them to do anything too expensive because the actions that they should take shouldn't be really costing anything. We need to encourage community members to take action by making activities free and easy to do and implement in their everyday lives, like turning off lights, eating less meat, carpooling, or even reducing your food waste or plastic waste. It's these simple solutions that are cheap and easy, and as a result, your project shouldn't be costing anything. So try to keep that in mind. But obviously, if you have something complex, you can reach out to Alana and I, and we can kind of help you with the fundraising component of that. For barriers number 2 and 3, which is the biggest barriers, where it was not enough information and they don't know what they should be doing. This is exactly where we can help. So we have been providing you with information at the Unconference, on our website, and obviously during these winter webinar series. So when you're out and engaging your communities, you can communicate the same information that we're giving you and provide that to them as well. So if they have any questions that you're unable to answer, the best solution is always just to tell them you'll find out and get back to them. That's something that I've done on this webinar a couple times. When you've asked me some really hard questions, I always say, it's an amazing question, but I'll have to get back to you. So if there's any information that you think would be helpful to you or your community that we haven't covered, please just reach out by email or through the chat box to me or Alana. Because I do want to emphasize we're here to help you and we want to make sure you have all the information you need and you know what you're doing. So by all means, we're incredibly happy to receive an email from you guys because literally you're like our favorite type of notification to get. So for the 4th and 5th barrier, it's being too busy or not having enough time. So as we mentioned, projects don't have to be overly complicated or don't need like a massive time commitment. So when you're engaging your communities, the activities that you ask them shouldn't be too time consuming. Again, we want to encourage them to take action by making their actions super simple, super simple. So we also ask them, what can we do that will help them implement greenhouse gas reductive measures into their own life? So some of the things were discussion groups, newsletters, how-to workshops, informative websites, and rebates and incentives. So with the websites, we have like a list of different things like the Climate Collective resources. Our workshops are obviously the Unconference that we're providing you and these webinars. So all community members are obviously welcome to attend these webinars. We do have a newsletter, which is the Climate Collective. And we also, which is like my most favorite part, is the discussion groups. So we do have our Q&A periods with the webinars, but we are also doing in-school meetings. So if you want Alana to come in to kind of help you brainstorm or maybe even implement your project, I highly suggest emailing her to set up a time, because she has already gone into a few different schools to meet several different students, and they found it really helpful to kind of have someone to bounce ideas off in person and to kind of be taken through the steps of what they could be doing and how to properly do it. So if you find that interesting and you think that would be really helpful to you, please email Alana. She is more than happy to come down, either before or after your school, or even on your lunches to make it easier for you guys. So for the rebates and incentives, that was our highest response because, let's face it, everyone likes free things to kind of encourage behavior, and it is a psychology, it's pretty massive in the psychology community as well. So unfortunately, we aren't able to provide you with funding for it, but we can certainly help you find certain funds to draw from, like either fundraising to get like certain rebates or incentives, or you could even look to your friends, family, or local companies for donations, but make sure it's sustainable and environmentally friendly. But by no means are we saying that you have to be spending money to have your project take off within your community. It's just one method to kind of engaging them. So for the next one, it's tips and tricks. So know your audience. Before you start engaging your community, think to yourself, what's the best way to reach your intended audience? Is it through social media, email, posters, flyers? If you want an example, if you're targeting other students in your school, you might want to put up posters in your hall, write an announcement for the morning announcements, or even prepare a short presentation for your class. If you're targeting your friends, you might want to consider using social media or maybe even a group text if you have one. And then for your family, obviously, well, you can talk to them at home, no big deal. Just remember to know your audience best and choose a method of communication that you know will reach them and resonate with them. So I'm not sure with some of you, I have been hearing that you're trying to implement it at school. You guys are all the same age, so I think you guys would know what's best to kind of reach people who are your own age. But if you are struggling with that, obviously reach out to us and we can give you some ideas other than the ones we've already given you. And then there is social media, which is probably the biggest platform that you can use, especially for students, because you'll be able to reach a larger audience. You could even try like tagging influential accounts like your school, the eco teams, Halton Environmental Network. We have our own little Twitter handle, which is Hen here, and we will share it to our followers. And then we also have HCC, which is Halton Climate Collective. And if you just tag with the hashtag Gen Green or Climate Action, we'll make sure that it's getting shared to the proper people. So for Twitter, I'm not sure if you guys have Twitter or not, but it's good for contacting politicians and businesses. There's also Facebook or Eventbrite if you're trying to like create an event page, like with Haya, one of the youth stakeholders. She's trying to do the biking event. Those would be two really good platforms for her to kind of target the proper audiences, because there they have more of a sharing events platform. So then she's reaching more people in Milton to actually come out. But overall, regardless of who your audience is, the best option always is in person, because you're more likely to get them to be responsive and attentive rather than ignoring the social media post or an email. Plus, it allows you to form a personal connection with your community, because remember, you can show that you're relatable, show them that you care and that you have, you know, the right intentions, and you just want to show how passionate you are about this. And when you show your passion, they're more likely to follow suit. And the biggest one, I think, out of all of these is following up with your participants. People can get busy, or they might start lacking the initiative to kind of continue onwards with the project that you've given them. Just make sure to keep following up. Just check in friendly, and just say, is there anything I can do to help? And then reassure them that their time is obviously super valuable and that you appreciate their help. So hopefully that was a bit more informative for you guys on how to kind of engage your community. Again, if there's anything that you feel like I've missed or you want a bit more information, please message the chat box because Andre is there and he will be taking note of all of that at the end, and we will definitely answer all those questions. So for the next steps, we know exams are coming up for you high school students. So we want to make sure that you guys have a solid plan and you don't have to worry about the project during your exam period. So if you haven't completed your project proposal, it's definitely not late. Please complete it as soon as possible. That's the link, which I will share onto the group once this webinar is over. We just want to make sure you're on the right track and you have enough time to execute your projects. Plus, you can just do it after your exam as well, as long as you have that project proposal in ASAP. So once you have a plan and you've submitted your proposals, make sure you just check your emails because like I said at the beginning, Alana will be sending individual project feedback to each of you, and you can have your in-person meetings as well with Alana, and we strongly suggest that you take advantage of these meetings because it will really help your project be successful. So please email her. She has like all the time in the world for you guys. And yeah, once you receive your feedback, finalize your plan, and your next step is just to put it into action. Don't forget some of the tips and tricks that we talked about, and just make sure you're getting out there, showing your passion, and being yourselves and being creative. And then, as we like to remind you guys, anyone who successfully reduces their community greenhouse gas emissions, however small, you will receive a certificate of completion. Eligible to earn volunteer hours. You get 1 per a webinar you attend. You don't have to interact in any other way. You just have to make sure that you message your name, your grade, and your school so we can keep track of that. And you also get the hours for the unconference. So there's a lot of volunteering hours you can get from that. And then we'll be having a pizza party, and we'll have lots of prizes for the wrap-up event, which is, I believe, in March for the 20th. And for you high school students, I think it would be really great for this to be on your college applications. It will really set you apart. The fact that you even took the initiative to try to implement a measure into your community. So as always, you have our support through all of the stages you need us for. And please just email us. We're here for you. These were the resources that I was talking about before. So you can click on these links. They will be posted later on the HCC website. So don't worry, they'll be there. And like I mentioned before, these are just your next steps. So they will be posted on the website. Our next webinar is on February 4th, which is troubleshooting your community initiatives. Basically, we'll just be going over some common issues you might be running into and how to solve them. And then if you haven't done your project proposal form, do it. I will be posting that into the group shortly. So yeah, that's me and Alana. Those are our emails and those are our phone numbers. Please use us. We are here. And we just absolutely love that you guys are taking the time to do this. So we just want to help out in any way we can. And yeah, now it's time for the question period. We're wrapping up a little bit earlier than I thought we would be. So Andre, are there any questions or are there any?
Yeah, there actually was one question. So in the chat, someone said that they're planning cleanup outside. And what they were wondering is if it's snowing on the day of the event and they can't do it before the March date, what should they do?
Okay. If they can't do it before the March date. So that's really okay if you can't complete your initiative before March. What Alana and I have been suggesting to students is that you just kind of extrapolate what you think would be the impact. And if you actually do run into that problem where it starts snowing and you can't do your event, I think it would be best to email me and Alana, because then we can kind of walk you through the steps on how to extrapolate your data and create that emissions coefficient to actually submit to us before the March 20th. So you'll still be in the running for any kind of prizes or the completion certificate, because obviously we know that weather is a huge factor into some of your projects. So don't let it prevent you from completing it. If it does happen, definitely email us. Hopefully that answered the question.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, we have one more. Someone's asking if the project proposal is the same as the project to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions.
So the project proposal is basically like a form that we have, and it was the 5 W's and the 2 hows. I think it was like 7 questions in total. It's just 1 to 2 sentences you're answering it about what you want to do for your community initiative. But it's not you actually completing the project, it's just us kind of seeing where you're trying to go with your initiative.
Yeah, so it's, I guess how I would explain it, it's like you have your project to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but then your project proposal is just where you explain what it is.
Yeah, so we're just trying to see if there's any problems that you might be running into. It's just kind of giving us like an overview of what you want to do, but you still do need to complete both the proposal and your actual project. So they're kind of like 2 steps basically. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Were there any other questions?
No, those were the only 2, but there is someone asking for the link to the project proposal because they said they did not receive it. So I'm just want to take a minute to try and find it from one of my emails from Alana and put the link in the chat for those that need to complete their project proposal. It really takes a couple of seconds to fill out, about a minute, a couple of sentences. And that's where you just explain it to us what your project proposal is. And there you go, I just put it in.
Thank you. Yeah, guys, it's super quick and easy. We're not expecting too much. And if you're unsure on how to answer one of the questions, that's fine. Put down you're unsure, and Alana will be reaching out to give you feedback and to say, hey, like, you're struggling with this, that's okay. We're here to help. So no worries. We just want to make sure you guys are on the right track. So if I will be staying on until 7, just in case people have questions, but that is the end of our webinar. So thank you so much for coming out and listening to both our youth stakeholders for their projects and how to engage your community. If you have time, please do the post-webinar feedback. You just have to enter that code onto menti.com. This is just for Alana and I to understand better of what you guys require from the webinars and how we're doing, because this is our first time trying to implement this, and we just want to make sure that you guys are getting all the help that you need from these webinars. Yeah. So, like I said, thank you so much for coming out. You are welcome to leave at any time. I will be on until 7 p.m. in case anyone has questions. So thank you guys.
Hi, sorry there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry. I'm not a student. I actually inadvertently joined the wrong chat. I was just trying to volunteer to do something you know, and I didn't realize this was just for young people, but I just want to commend all of you guys. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. And I was wondering, like, is there another, like, this is all geared towards a younger generation. If as adults we want to do something, our own community initiatives, who do I talk to? Or is there somebody else I could talk to get guidance the same way that is being offered to the younger generation?
Yeah, but you can just talk to me or Alana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I actually the real reason with everything going on in the world, I just was looking to volunteer in my community. I live in Oakville. I came upon the HEN and just happened to have a webinar today. So that's why I didn't realize until I was listening to the webinar that it's geared towards high school students. But it's amazing what you guys are doing. I'm a teacher in Peel, and I was wondering, is there another thing? This is Halton based. Is there something that's comparable within the Peel system that I can access for my students?
I'm not sure if there's like another group that's doing the same thing that we're
Yeah.
doing, but
Okay.
our resources and our time is completely available to everyone, including the Peel region. It's not just for Halton. Because
Okay, perfect.
yeah, we just want you guys to get involved. So it's fantastic that you are interested.
Yeah, so I'm actually joined. I made an eco club just last week with the grade sixes at my school because I just think it's time that awareness and education. I'm doing it obviously through education about the plight of plastic pollution, and that's where my focus is on, and is how to reduce plastic in our everyday lives. So I just joined, just doing it with a bunch of grade sixes, and I would like them to be able to access these webinars and kind of feel empowered to do more, because when they hear it from an adult is very different than hearing it from a peer who's their age, to see the scope of what they can accomplish.
Yeah, definitely. If you go to the Halton Climate Collective, we have
Right.
all of our resources and the webinars there posted.
Perfect.
And please email me and Alana, like we're more than happy to help you.
I will definitely do that. And so you don't have to be a student ambassador. Do you need to be living in Halton or be attending a Halton school, or is it anybody who has vested interest in environmentalism and climate change can submit a proposal?
It's really anyone. We just want to
Okay.
reach as many people as possible.
Okay, perfect. So I can definitely do that. And does it have to be just geared towards reducing our carbon footprint and towards that, or could it be something like, for example, what I'm doing at my school, like trying to reduce the plastic in our everyday lives and understanding and spreading awareness? Is that considered that something that also you guys, is considered a project?
So it can be considered a project because you're joining in now. I will say that
Yeah.
we have a workshop at our unconference where we taught students how to properly track and measure and report their impact. And that's something that's
Beautiful.
covered in 2 webinars from now, I believe.
Okay.
So if you are planning on joining us with this initiative, that would be a required component, and we could walk you through
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's great. And I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm really glad that I inadvertently kind of stumbled upon this, but it's amazing to see the youth leading and trying to do their part to, solve this climate crisis. And it's really encouraging and inspirational. So keep up the good work. I'm definitely going to be spreading the word about you guys and spreading it to my school and whichever teachers are interested, and so that you guys can, guide the next generation.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for accidentally joining us.
I will, yeah. Yes, no, nothing's an accident. It was meant to be. I'll be emailing you and then sharing your emails. So for all interested students, whether they're in Peel or in Halton, to come and join you guys and to volunteer their time and their efforts and to learn and spread awareness.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yay, thanks guys.